We all went to the theater to see Red Hulk in action, but why is this version of Hulk red instead of green? There's a small detail in the movie that helps clear up this question. In just a moment, I'll tell you about this and other interesting details you probably missed while watching the film. Hi guys, and welcome to Pizza Plot. Against all odds, especially considering the criticism from many fans towards Sam Wilson's Cap, Captain America: Brave New World is actually doing pretty well in theaters. It's still too early to tell if it will hit the numbers needed to be considered a success, but despite some obvious flaws, audiences seem to be enjoying the movie. What's certain though, is that like any good Marvel production, this film is packed with references, callbacks, and all kinds of Easter eggs. So today I'm going to show you the 15 best details I noticed while watching the movie. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. Let's kick things off with an interesting callback in the movie's first few minutes to the most beloved Captain America of all time, Steve Rogers. When Sam, along with Joaquin, goes to train with Isaiah immediately shows off his incredible strength thanks to the super soldier serum. With just one punch, he sends a punching bag flying several feet away. For those who didn't catch it, this is a clear reference to the first Avengers movie where Steve Rogers' Cap did the exact same thing. Not many people notice this because it happens right at the beginning of the film, but there's a clear timeline error. In the opening scenes, we see the day of President Ross's election victory, or at least a day early in his presidential term. Just moments later, the screen flashes 5 months later. However, if you listen to Ross himself, he mentions that he's just a few days away from his first 100 days as president. Obviously, the math doesn't add up. If about 5 months have passed since election day, it should have been at least 150 days, meaning his 100th day in office would have already come and gone. Near the end of the movie, a fan-favorite character connected to Captain America makes a surprise appearance. Bucky, better known as the Winter Soldier. In his brief cameo, we're told that he's about to become a US congressman. Not everyone might have caught this, but it's a clear nod to, or even a hint at, what's coming in the Thunderbolts movie, which will hit theaters soon. In the trailer for that film, we see Bucky inside a courtroom. Everyone assumed he might be in legal trouble again, but thanks to what we learn in Captain America, it's more likely that he's there as a congressman, or at least not as a defendant. As we all know, Harrison Ford hasn't always played General Ross in Marvel films. In every other appearance, the character was portrayed by William Hurt, who sadly passed away in 2022, making a recast necessary. However, there's a subtle but meaningful tribute to the late actor in the film. Early on, when we see the crowd welcoming the president, you can spot some campaign posters. In some of these, the photo used isn't of Harrison Ford's version of Ross, but of William Hurt's original portrayal. This is a detail that very few people probably noticed because it flashes by in just an instant. As we mentioned in our Ending Explained video, this new film introduces adamantium, a nearly indestructible metal alloy that plays a huge role in the Marvel universe. At the beginning of the movie, we see Cap trying to recover a mysterious cylinder. When the cylinder is shown, we can see its contents are being kept at 815 degrees. That number isn't random. According to the comics, producing adamantium requires 2 resin compounds infused with metallic elements, and they need to be maintained at exactly 815 degrees to bond properly. In one of the final scenes, through the Cap suit worn by Sam Wilson, there's a direct nod to his previous character, Falcon. Unlike the rest of the movie, where this doesn't happen, in the final scenes, he chooses to embrace a behavior typical of his past as Falcon. In fact, Sam rolls up the sleeves of his new suit. For those who might not know, Sam used to do the same thing when wearing certain versions of his Falcon costume, or he would simply go for short sleeves altogether. When Cap and Falcon head toward Camp Echo 1, they decide not to use smartphones to avoid being tracked. Instead, they use old-school cell phones. In particular, we see Falcon playing around with an old Motorola phone. But what game is he playing? It's tough to say for sure, since the scene is so brief, but I personally believe it might be a mobile version of the classic game Space Invaders. If you have any better ideas, let me know in the comments. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the video. If you are, make sure to hit that like button down below. It really helps support the channel. Thanks a lot, and let's keep going with the list. In the movie's final scene, we see President Ross imprisoned in the Raft, an underwater prison from the Marvel Universe. This happens both as punishment for his crimes and to keep his potential transformations under control. Some of you might not have noticed this, but in the post-credits scene, we learn that Stearns, the film's villain, is also locked up in the same prison. This might not be a coincidence. We could be seeing a clash between the two in a future Marvel movie. From the many trailers for the movie, we all knew that President Ross would eventually turn into the dreaded Red Hulk. However, there's a hidden scene in the film that hints at his transformation and could have spoiled it even for those who weren't aware. When we see Ross getting agitated over the various international issues unfolding, he slams his fist down on a marble table, causing it to crack. Obviously, anyone familiar with his future transformation will immediately connect the scene to that major turning point. But even for those who didn't know, this moment could have hinted at what was coming long before the actual transformation takes place in the movie. A lot of people went to the theater just to see Red Hulk, but why is this version of Hulk red instead of green like the others? In the comics, it's explained that the color depends on how the person absorbs radiation and the type of radiation they're exposed to. For Green Hulks, they absorb only gamma radiation, usually in large doses all at once. Red Hulk, on the other hand, absorbs different types of radiation, and as shown in the movie, receives it gradually in small amounts. Plus, as we can also see in the film, Red Hulk's intense color comes not just from the radiation, but also from the enormous heat, almost like he's on fire, that he generates. This is something that doesn't happen with the green versions of Hulk. During Sam's first meeting with President Ross, there's a mention of Ross shaving off his signature mustache, a feature the character always had. As you may know, Ross was previously played by William Hurt, and the filmmakers decided to remove the mustache in this version as a way to set Harrison Ford's portrayal apart and pay tribute to the late actor. However, the film gives another explanation. Ross says that if he hadn't shaved his mustache, he would have never won the election. Interestingly, whether it's a coincidence or not, no US president has had facial hair since 1913, the final year of President William Howard Taft's term. Not everyone may have noticed this, but the movie features a well-known comic book character who even worked with the Avengers at one point, Demolition Man. In the comics, he's known for his superhuman strength and durability and is recognizable by his mask, which looks similar to Wolverine's. His real name is Dennis Dunphy, and based on some clues in the movie, it seems likely that he's portrayed by the soldier who shares a close bond with Sam Wilson. Throughout the film, we see several characters fall victim to mind control whenever they hear a specific song, Mr. Blue by the Fleetwoods. The song talks about betrayal in love, and in some ways, it's a fitting choice for how Stearns uses it for his own manipulation throughout the movie. One of the most important locations in Captain America Brave New World is Camp Echo 1, a prison laboratory where Stearns is locked up and from which he controls the minds of his chosen targets. But does this place exist in the comics? Yes, it does. In the comics, it served a similar purpose, though instead of Stearns, it held Amadeus Cho. Later on, it was used as an internment camp run by Hydra for the Inhumans. During Cap's first meeting with President Ross, we see Ross holding a lollipop, saying it's a decent alternative to a cigar. If you didn't catch the reference, this ties into Ross's heart condition, which is revealed more clearly toward the end of the film. Because of his serious heart issues, Ross can't smoke anymore, so he replaces his cigars with lollipops. A small but clever character detail. Alright guys, we've reached the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to leave a like down below. It really helps support the channel and lets me know you're enjoying my work. Subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future content, especially if, like me, you're passionate about movies and TV shows. As always, thanks for watching, and bye guys. See you in the next video.